Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 36, Planning for Success.
Happy New Year, Joe. How exciting.
Yeah.
January, start of a new year, clean slate. We've got the next 12 months that, anything could happen, and it's so exciting.
We know that anything can happen, yes.
Yep. But let's talk about what we can do in order to make sure we make the most of the next 12 months.
And I was reading the other day that someone had interviewed all of these really successful people to find out whether there was one thing that they all had in common that supported that success or helped them be successful. And really interesting, the thing that they all said was focus.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have a plan, you don't actually know where you need to focus and where you need to focus your time, what you need to be doing at any one point to help you get to the point that you want to get to, and achieve the things that you want to achieve. So this is why I love this topic, because if anything's to go by with all of these successful people, planning so you can focus where you need to focus is so, so important.
Oh, it really is. You think about the days. I mean, I don't have too many days like this anymore, but I used to at the start of my VA career. Those days I'd kind of wake up and not really have a plan, not really have an idea of what it was I wanted to achieve, what specific jobs I wanted to kind of tick off my to-do list. And those days always ended up the worst in terms of my output and what I was able to get done that day. Those were the days that I always ended up just scrolling aimlessly on social media or going down a YouTube, rabbit hole for hours on end. So if your day can be affected that much with a lack of planning and a lack of focus, imagine how your year is affected when you don't have a plan.
And so we've got some we do things slightly differently. So how we sort of plan and how we manage our year and what we do. So for me, I really love I actually have a 15-year plan, and I know that actually freaks people out because they're like, I don't know what I'm doing next year, let alone 15 years time. But I have a 15-year plan, and I've broken that down to 10 years, to 5 years, to 2 years, to 1 year. So I have that. It's in a Google sheet, and it's on different tabs and stuff. So I know where I'm headed. And yes, I want to make sure that I enjoy things along the way, which is why I've broken it down into different sort of areas of my life and what I want to do or achieve or experience and places I want to go and things I want to do along the way. So it's not like I'm saying I'm only going to be happy when I get to my 15-year plan and I've achieved it. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I have lots of experiential type things in there. And I have a full bucket list as well. I feel like I'm a super planning nerd, actually.
You are.
You might not know this about me, Sam.
You are.
But
You've just blown my mind with 15 years. I mean, that's. I feel I'm feeling like I'm in awe of that, and I'm also feeling that holy crap, that just seems like a lot of pressure for someone like me to be thinking about. But that's the great thing. Planning can mean different things for different people, and as you said, we all plan differently, and even in terms of some people like something hard that they can write down in front of them that they can flick through the pages. Others, like you mentioned, your Google Doc. Other people like it more on their computer screen. They don't need it in front of them. There's so many different ways you can do this.
There really is. And there's no lots of people teach all sorts of different ways to plan out your year and achieving goals and 90-day action plans and that sort of stuff. So Yeah, it's finding what works for you. Like you say, Sam,
Mm.
whatever feels good for you, because this needs to be inspiring. It needs to be motivational. And so if you don't get motivated by looking at a Google sheet with different tabs, then don't do that. If you're a super nerd like me, then that like I can see it and I can track it really easily, and I like that. Some people might like things that are super visual, like Trello, and it's not so rigid or like planned out and mapped like per year.
Yeah.
More like a vision board. So yeah, whatever works for you, choose what works for you, but really make sure that you take this time, like we're in a brand new year. Take the time to really have a think about what it is that you want to like. What does your ideal work week look like? What does
Mm.
your ideal lifestyle look like? What do you feel like is the definition of success for you? And that will be different for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm quite high level in my planning. I'm also very visual and quite creative. So for many years, I did journaling. I don't know if you've
Nice.
seen those. So it's basically just a blank notepad, and it's just got lots and lots of dots in a grid type form, and it's just kind of you do whatever you want. You draw, you doodle, you make things look pretty. You use felts if for the color aspect. So that worked really, really well for me. Now I have the New Zealand VA business planner that I use
Mhm.
every year, because obviously I'm a co-creator of that, so of course I would use it. So that's what kind of gets me through my year in terms of running 3 businesses. Um, but yeah, I think getting back to those basics that you've just touched on, Joe. What's your why?
Mm.
Why are you doing this? It's so, so important. So any opportunity that comes your way, you can go back to that why. So you know immediately whether or not you should be saying yes to that job or no. And as you mentioned, what does success mean to you? Because it means something different to everybody. What does that look like to you? Is success having 2 homes, one's at the beach, and you spend every weekend there? Is that success? Is success only having to work 3 days a week until 12 o'clock? You know, the world's your oyster.
Mm. Yeah, success really does mean so many different things for so many people, and it does help you focus when you define what success looks like, because then you
Mhm.
can, right, what's the first step that I can do to get towards that? And you
Yes.
can actually start to map out what you need to do, and everything that you do can be focused around taking that next step towards that goal.
Mm.
Yeah, for me, success means to be able to choose exactly how I spend my time, who I spend it with, and when, like having that ultimate freedom of my time. That's success for me. So that's everything that I think about and everything I say yes to and everything I say no to. I keep that in the back of my mind, because we can
Yeah.
very quickly get down a track where we're saying yes to too many things and we're like, this is not even like I wanted to have freedom of my time, but I've just committed to doing this thing every single week, like like that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this is a great time of year if you're sitting down and you're thinking about all these things. It's a great time of year to also think about who your clients have been in the past, and whether or not they are your ideal client. It may have changed.
Mm.
The goals that you set 12 months ago, the people you used to work 12 months ago, that could have changed. The services that you used to provide, you may have fallen out of love with more than one of them. Is it time to say goodbye to those? What are the services that you really, really want to be doing on a day-to-day basis? And what do you need to do in order to make that transition? Is it you need to be firing some clients? Is it you need to be upskilling in some things in order for you to then have the knowledge and skills to start offering those services?
Yeah, like this is the perfect time to really sit down and think about your niche and your specialty. And like you say, Sam, figure out what it is that fills you with the most joy. And, what do you need to do to make that happen? Do you need to update your website with a different marketing message? Do you need to focus, all your marketing material or your online presence around something different? Like this is the time to really think about what you want in what niche, what specialty you can like really smash this year.
Yes. Yeah. And then once you've got some of those kind of goals in place, what do you need? What are some of those baby steps you need to do in order to achieve that? So
Mm,
if you are, you're an established VA, you've been around for a while, the next thing for you is you need to be showing up, doing some Facebook Lives or some videos. What is it going to take? What do you need to do in order to start feeling comfortable in
mm,
that environment? Do you need to go through and make those 6 weekly hair appointments so you feel confident when you do sit down and go live? Do you need to go and update your makeup, get some new lipstick? All of those things.
mm. Get a tripod to put your phone on, like
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
up a desk in front of a window somewhere in a spare room. Like take some small actions
Mhm.
to do the things that you need to do and focus on to then achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? And that's also why I love 90-day action plans. So for
Mm.
me, I have my 15, 10, 5, etc. broken down. And so I focus my 90-day action plans on my 1 year goals.
Mhm.
So what do I need to do to achieve these goals in the next 90 days? And so I go a maximum of 5 projects. And so it might be like choosing a niche and updating my online presence could be one of your projects for that 90 days. So think about those things that you want to implement, make them not so broad that that it's hard to know whether you've actually achieved it or not. So think about like one really specific thing. This is the SMART thing. Everyone we'll talk about that lots. The SMART goals. Make it really specific. Make it so you
Mhm.
know whether you've achieved it. Give yourself a time frame, like when you're going to do this by, and that could be the 90 days. Like I'm going to achieve these 5 projects in the 90 days. Yeah, getting really
Yeah.
specific, knowing exactly what you're going to focus on a 90-day period means that you can then break it down to what am I going to do this week? What am I going
Mhm.
to do this month to achieve that in the 90 days? So you're really breaking it down because it gets overwhelming, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I think, and in order to kind of lessen that feeling of overwhelm, is as you said, just keep it simple. As long as they are actionable and
Mm,
measurable, and something that you can really, it's really easy for you to flick back and go, right. Have I achieved that? Yes. No. Do I need to be focusing on it this month instead? Absolutely. I'm the same. I have I don't have a 15-year plan. I have my high level goals for the year. Then each month I'll sit down and figure out what I'm focusing on that month, and then I then break that down again into weekly goals and whatnot.
yep.
Another thing that I don't do it every year. I think it depends on my mood actually. But having a word of the year
Mm,
sometimes feels good to me. And making that pretty. Do something in Canva with the word that you've picked, whether it's free or light or successful or powerful or whatever your word is that you kind of want to remind you throughout the year of this person you want to become or this business owner you want to become.
mhm,
You need to have it somewhere up front. So create something pretty in Canva and have it as your phone kind of screensaver. So every
mm.
time you pick up your phone, powerful, successful, rich, whatever that word is.
Yeah, yeah, and change passwords too. Change
Mm.
your, like, master password for your LastPass account if you have a password vault, which I highly recommend that everyone does. Change your password so that you're actually typing it in and reminding yourself of what your goal is, what your word is, what you want to achieve, anything like that. There's some cool ways to keep that front of mind, and it comes down to also feeding that manifesting and that law of attraction as well. The more front of mind it is, the more you can focus and the more you can then attract the things and opportunities that you need to be able to achieve those goals.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really want to touch on is people that haven't planned before or don't think that they're planners. Like, oh, that's just not me.
Mm,
Or I've tried it before and it just hasn't worked. I want to challenge you to try it again and maybe try it in a different way. Like, we're not talking about huge 100-page business plans here.
no.
It can be as simple as an A4 notepad that you just jot down some high level goals and milestones and things you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the important thing is, yes, you have to know where you're headed, like where are you wanting to go, so that you're not, if you think about a pathway, a direct route where you're focused and taking actions towards a place, a destination, is much easier than meandering, or it takes less time than meandering and wandering everywhere without any sort of focus, and maybe not even getting to some sort of like achievement of a goal because you've never set the goal. So yeah, the planning is super important. And then it's about, I love consistently taking imperfect action.
Yeah.
My favorite quote, it's so true that you just need to start doing something, taking little baby steps, taking action, even if it's not perfect. Sam and I do things that are not perfect all the time, right? We'll send out an
yeah.
email, we'll pop up a post, we'll create a sales page, and it's not perfect the first time, but we know that we can improve on it and do it better next time. A website, people agonize over their website, and it's like, just make it go live, and then you can just update it as you go. You can always improve it. So yeah, I'm all about just getting stuff out and then working on improving it over time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Imperfect action, baby steps. But having that plan, that's what's going to keep you moving.
Mm-hmm.
And without that movement, that focus and that movement, you're just not going to grow.
Mm. Yeah, and surely we all want to grow. We might not have huge aspirational goals, but that doesn't matter. You still have some goals about how you want to make improvements in your life, achieve a lifestyle that you want, experience things along the way. So yeah, definitely encourage everyone, make a plan, figure out what it is that you want to put that plan on that really fits with you, and then break it down to some 90 days or some monthly goals or weekly goals, whatever feels right for you, and start taking those baby steps. And it's all about consistently taking imperfect action. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing members club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.